Oh, that's very sweet. Oh, you're gonna open that here? You're looking too much names, lady. Come on. Open that here. If you could stop making noise, that'd be great. Welcome back to Exalt Expo episode 12. As my usual, I like to present to you guys the best innovators and thought leaders. Today is going to be a unique episode in which we are going to have a guest whom is neither a innovator or necessarily a thought leader. It's not Marianne. Marianne is here, but that's not our guest. So, but nonetheless, it's a special guest. Enjoy.
I'm tired, man. It's super raw. It's real. It's so real.
Good morning. It is currently 3:54 in the morning, and I'm tired. But nonetheless, you know, every video that we try to present with Exalt Expo is to inspire, motivate, give you ideas, kind of speak to your heart, so to speak. I was very inspired by this week's clip, which ironically enough happened in Tampa, Florida, which is where we are on our way to right now. So, yeah. You know, there's often lots of talk about legacy and family and what you want people to remember about you, and all kinds of things. I'm not a huge dude on family. I probably have like a lot of growing to do in that area. It's just never been something that's like, my family's big and we're all spread out. You know, and oftentimes I kind of ask myself, like, why do I keep recording stuff? Why do I document over create? And in this week's Exalt Expo, Expo 12, I think paints the picture very clearly, and is kind of the answer to the last two of where are we going. At least answers part of it. The other part of it I handle at a different time, but this answers why and how we are going where we are going. So here come the puppies.
Like, we struggle in putting things into context because you take for granted what you have.
I really like the idea that, like, documenting the process.
Huge.
Yeah.
Bro, could you imagine if how many people here are vlogging?
Every damn day, baby!
Let's go. Yeah, baby. Could you imagine if we were lucky enough that vlogging has been around for 50 years and we could have seen all the people that we think are incredible just see their process of coming up the game? More importantly, back to every damn day, my man, whether you make it or you don't, the fact that your great-great-grandkids are gonna be able to watch that film is unbelievable. I didn't get to know either one of my grandfathers. They both died, right? Before I got to know them. Like, you know how cool it would be to have all that film on them? So you might be thinking about vlogging as like narcissistic and somebody's being a charlatan. You're short-sighted. If you're not vlogging, you're taking something very special away from your future family.
Cheers, man, appreciate it.
Tampa, thank you so much. Come on, let's go.
Just a little bit about my life is it goes back to my mom and dad. They were great people. They stayed together forever. I miss my mom and dad like you'd miss your mother and father, like Mary Ann would miss her mom and dad. And this is so, it's unexpected for me. It's not like I'm looking at a script or nothing. It's just you and I talking.
And I think that's a great intro to the actual premise. Is I never got to know most of my grandparents. And when I say most of, I mean never met most of. And the ones that I did meet, I was very young. And then they had passed away,
Do you remember,
typically at early ages.
Do you remember anything about my mom? Or?
I do. I mean, I could pick her out of a lineup.
You can pick me out of a lineup too.
I could pick her out of a lineup. But in terms, and I remember her mannerisms a little bit. I remember a couple like instances of being at the house in Lake Charles, and I remember what the house looked like. I remember the bedrooms. I remember the bedroom she slept in, and things like that. I have very visual memories of that. But I mean, obviously, I don't necessarily know her like as a woman.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know her as a grandmother.
Right.
And so that was really the premise of what I wanted to do here is kind of capture that, because even if I had never met her, I've never seen a video of her. I've seen pictures of her. But what was it like? You know, I can remember her not even being able to walk that well. Right. So seeing what she would have looked like moving, seeing what she would have looked like speaking with full capacity and all those kinds of things, that would have been cool, even if I would have never met her. So, you know, earlier this morning we were kind of joking around. It was like, you know, you had already said it. Maybe, you know, your prayer used to be let you see me, let God let you see me get to 16, then graduate, and then so on and so forth.
Right.
And we were saying this morning, let your grandkids, let them see you at 16, right? Because that's when they're really, really going to develop those memories, right? If we had a baby tomorrow, 16 years from now, you would be
dead and buried.
You'd be
Dead and buried.
94.
Ain't gonna happen. Go ahead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just in light of that being a very real reality, even if they saw you at 94, you'd be a different person at 94 than you are today.
Absolutely.
So them being able to see you in fully functioning capacity, talk, and tell the story for yourself as opposed to hearing the story from me would be different.
That makes all the sense in the world, because they could hear my voice, they could see me in motion, and I'm 78 years old. And
We can arm wrestle at the end of this if you
oh
want
yeah,
to.
well you lose because you know I'm ready. I had an incident yesterday. I was going to knock somebody out. So at 79, he's 78 years old. You know, God has blessed me. God has blessed me where I have a little arthritis in my left hand. But other than that, I'm in good shape. So just your grandfather, when he passed away, unfortunately, couldn't get there.
Why not?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that.
I know.
But this is so real. Well, I had to do 364 days in a lockup in jail, and so I couldn't get to my father's funeral. Now, let me put a little asterisk with that. I went to the funeral at 6 o'clock in the morning. The police officers, I had an escort of about 8 police officers, and we went to the funeral at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was the only one there because I didn't want to embarrass my mom, because I'm the only child, and I didn't want to embarrass her with being there with all the FBI, the CIA, the Girl Scouts of America at the funeral, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So without all of that ado, I just, that's one of the regrets. And I have several, everybody has, but when I lay down to see the father, say it again?
Watch that.
Oh yeah, okay. When I lay down to see my father in heaven, and I hope I'm being there, all the things that I did that I shouldn't have done, I regret. But, you know, I'm full of stories. I have a book that I'm writing, an autobiography.
That you're writing?
Okay, there's a quip there or something. No.
No, you knew how to.
Oh, you didn't know I know how to write. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
What's the title of the first chapter?
I don't want to be lucky.
That's the name of the first chapter?
Yeah. And because the reason why I don't want to be lucky. What? Okay, what are you laughing about?
I just don't believe that there's a piece of paper sitting somewhere with the name on it that says I don't want to be lucky.
That's another thing. She traps me off, and if I say left, he says right. You know, in a good way. Yeah, and the reason why I don't want to be lucky is because since I was 11 years old, I got the adopted name of Lucky because my mother and father, your grandmother and grandfather, bought me a car at 11 years old.
Why'd they buy you a car?
I was hoping he wasn't gonna ask that. Because at 11 years old, I was stealing everybody's car in the neighborhood. In those days...
Do you remember the car, the type of car, make and model of the first one you took?
Absolutely. The first one I took?
Yeah, the first car you took.
No.
At 11 or 12.
Who taught you how to drive?
How to what?
Who taught you how to drive?
Oh, my father. My father taught me how to drive. That was a mistake on his part.
Was that a horse or... Like a horse and buggy?
See, he's talking about how old I am. As a matter of fact, I remember horse and buggy.
I know, you learned how to drive one.
My father taught me how to drive at 11, and
What year was that?
1951. Yeah, 51, 52.
Wow.
But see, we lived in Queens, in Long Island, and the cops used to stop me because I was, 11-year-old kid. But we're out in the country in Queens, and the cop would stop me every day. Listen, take this car home, and I'm calling your father tonight. And they'd call my father.
That's crazy. That used to really happen. Like,
It did.
Cops would be like,
super nice.
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna call your parent.
Right.
You're grounded.
Now you get.
Well, and we would call today upper middle class. They lived in a beautiful neighborhood until I destroyed it.
So we came to Tampa with multiple purposes. To capture some great stories and content of me just hanging out with my dad. And honestly, a lot of that content's not going to be valuable for 10, 15, 20 years from now. But I'm so thankful that I got the chance to come down and do it. Thanks for watching Exalt Expo. And I don't know, I hope maybe some of you are a little bit more inspired to capture some content, take lots of pictures. I got to see some wonderful pictures from my dad when he was like 17, 18 years old that I never got to see before, and I'm so thankful that those were available, and it's just such a joy for me right now to be able to capture content of my family and my dad. And I was thinking about it, if Marianne and I had a kid today, by the time they were 16, my dad would be about 95 years old. So then being able to get the chance to see him and see his mannerisms, see the way that he talked, see the way that he moved. You can't put a price on that kind of stuff. So I hope that you guys enjoy it a little bit, just getting to kind of check out what we did, and if you're inspired by it to capture a little bit more of your own content of your own family. Just take lots of pictures, ask questions to stories that you've already heard a million times, but turn it into a story to tell. So thanks for watching Exalt Expo, and this is what we're doing.